Hi everybody, Josh here from South Plains Model Rocketry. We want to thank you for picking up our IQSY Tomahawk kit. We hope that this is a enjoyable first step in your new hobby. So I want to start off first with the needed supplies for building the kit. So I have two types of CA here. This is super glue. We have the thin and the thick. If you only have one, I would recommend picking up the thick, although having both is useful for other kits. You can pick this up at Hobbytown here in Lubbock. And you will also need sandpaper. If you don't have this kind of glue, it's okay. You can get any other kind of super glue, crazy glue. You just need to be familiar with how it works. This thick stuff dries a little bit slower, and the thin stuff dries faster. It's also quite a bit runnier. So, but you don't need both. If you just get one though, get the thick. So this is the building supplies. Okay, next we want to talk about what comes in the kit. So the first thing you want to do is lay everything out, make sure you have everything. We try to make sure everything's in the package, but sometimes we might miss something, and if we are, get in touch with us, we'll make sure we get you your parts. Okay, first is the fin can. Then we have the top of the motor mount, which goes into the tube. And we have the nose cone. And this concludes the 3D printed parts. You have your body tube, just BT50 sized. You'll have your Kevlar shock cord and your ripstop nylon streamer. And that's pretty much it. So make sure you have everything here. Gather up your building supplies and let's get started. For this section, we're going to need the top of the fin can, which is the part that goes into the body tube, and you're going to need your Kevlar shock cord. So first off, I like to take Kevlar shock cord and put just a dab CA on the end and give it just a little bit. And just kind of quickly smash it down. So you don't have to do that part. That keeps it from fraying. What we're going to do is we're going to feed this through here. I'll feed it through there. And then you may need to use a pin or something. If you've got a pair of tweezers or a small screwdriver, you can use just about anything. We're going to want to bring that back out. Sometimes you have to feed a little bit of it to get it in there. Bring it out. And then what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to tie a double knot. And it's okay if you have a little bit of overhang. Okay, double knot. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then we're going to want to put a drop of CA on that, because we do not want this thing coming apart. Because if it comes apart in here, you're not going to be able to remount it, and you'll have to remount the shock cord inside using a different method. We're going to put a little bit of CA there, make sure that knot doesn't come loose. You want to let that sit for a little bit, let the CA cure. Then we'll go on to the next step. Now that we've let our CA cure, the next step is to feed shock cord, and you're going to want to make sure to stretch all that out back through this part. It will come back through here again when we're done, but right now we need it on the other side. So feed it back through so that it comes out of the smaller side. You see we have two sides here. We have the thicker side, then you have the threads, and then you have the smaller side. We want it to come out that side there. Go ahead and tuck your remnants in there. Make sure that's in there as well. Okay, so we're going to want to take our sandpaper, go along the edge of this. Just due to the 3D printing process, sometimes there's a bit of a ridge. And unfortunately with our first batch, the tubes fit a little tight. They were not quite to the spec that the prototype was, so clean that up. 220, 120 grit sandpaper. We like the Gator stuff. You can get that at, I believe, Lowe's. So once you've sanded that, we want to grab our body tube next, and we're going to test fit this. Okay, and sometimes it's a little tight, so go inside here. Come back over here. Okay, get that lip off of there. And there we go. Fits really nice. So not too much sanding, but you definitely want to have that available. Okay, now that we know that this is going to fit, what we're going to do is we're going to put some CA, some super glue, inside of here. You can also use epoxy. You don't want to use plastic cement or anything like that. It's not going to bond with this. So we want to use the thick if you have it available. If you don't have it, the thin works, but the thin, you have to be really quick because it has a very quick set time. Take our CA and we're just going to put a little bit around here, just right inside the edge. And one go around will be sufficient. Insert that piece there, the thicker piece, into the tube so that your threads are facing out. And we're going to let this cure. You may want to work on a surface that it's okay if you get glue on it. You can get a scrap piece of plywood. This workbench is you can tell it's already scratched up and everything, so it's okay if I get a little bit of glue. If you're worried about your surface, get some wood, scrap piece of wood, and then you can even lay wax paper on top of that to kind of help keep it clean. So anyway, let this cure for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, now that we've let this part cure, what we need to do is we need to poke our Kevlar cord back through, and then you're going to want to use a pencil or small screwdriver to kind of get it started down in there. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this, so try to keep it from tangling up as you're working on it. Just kind of poke it down through there. And if you get a long pencil or something that'll fit in there, it will help poke this stuff through. But we want it to come out the other end of the tube. And you can kind of get this stuff to feed decently. And sometimes if you push it in and shake it a little bit, it'll come towards the end. We've almost got it now. Get a little bit more. Okay, that's enough for me to reach in and grab. Okay, I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to pull it all the way through. The only reason that we put it out there is to keep the keep it from getting CA on it whenever we put this in. Okay, we're going to take this end. We're going to do the same thing. A little drop of CA on it. We're going to come up here, get your nose cone, and we're going to feed it through the nose cone. There's a little hole in there, and it sometimes be a little difficult to get through initially. Just get it through there, use your pen, pencil, whatever, to pop it through. And then once again, we're going to tie a double knot. Once we make sure it's tight, put a small drop of CA on it and let it cure. Just a little bit. You just want to stop it from coming loose. And then let that cure and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, we've got one more step and then we will be finished with the construction. So you're going to want to get your streamer. Take the tape off of it. Okay. And then we're going to want to take this and open it up. And about an inch from the end or so of the streamer itself, and 4 to 6 inches from the end of the nose cone, we're going to want to tie a knot. And you can actually do this before you put the nose cone on. We want to leave about an inch there. And then once again, we're going to do a double knot. And you can actually do this before you put the nose cone on, but it makes it a little bit more difficult to tie the knot around the nose cone. Okay, we want a double knot there, nice and tight. Pull on the streamer, make sure it doesn't come loose. And then you can also put a dot of CA there if you would wish. You don't want to get any on the streamer material though, so be careful. And there you have it. And with that last step, you are done constructing your IQSY Tomahawk. At this point, you can put some paint on it, and when you're done with that, let's get it ready to fly. So I'll let you pick the paint colors. You can go with the original, or you can come up with your own scheme, or you can leave it unpainted. Once you're ready to fly, here's how you put everything together. So first, let's prep the motor. You take your fin can, take the motor, make sure the nozzle is pointing down. Insert it into the tube and press it all the way down. I want to make sure that it's flush with the bottom of the retainer. Then you will take your igniter, drop it in. Don't want to force it, it'll fall right in. Insert the plug. You may have to hold the motor a little bit. Spin it over. This is the new style of Estes igniters with the red. We use a bit of pyrogen dip on them, that's the black. And I like to, you don't have to, but I like to bend those over. It's a lot easier to get the clip on there and they tend to hold better. Okay, the fin can is prepped. Now, take the upper part of the rocket and simply screw the fin can on. To remove it after flight, simply unscrew it, let it set a few minutes so it's not hot. The motors are hot after you burn them. Discard the motor and it's ready to go again. Now, the one other thing we need to do is recovery wadding, and what this does is this stops the hot gases of the motor from melting your recovery device. So I recommend 4 squares of wadding. You want to take it, loosely crumple, press it in there, and then use your pencil, push it down. And we're going to do that 3 more times for a total of 4 squares. You can also use cellulose insulation, which we refer to as dog barf, and you just want to put a decent amount in there. But this is the stuff that you can pick up at Hobbytown, and recovery wadding, especially for smaller rockets like this, works perfectly. Now packing the recovery device. So you want to take your streamer, and we're going to fold it over. We're going to fold it again, and we're going to fold it again. And before we do all of that, we're going to take our excess shock cord and kind of zigzag it. We don't want to roll it tightly, but we want to pack it in there so it comes apart nice and loose. Let's go ahead and pack all that in there. Okay, now I'll show you the streamer one more time. We're going to take it, fold it in half, fold it again, fold it again, fold it one more time, roll it up, Hold that outside portion. Lightly wrap the shock cord around it once or twice. Insert it into the tube. You want it to slide freely. If it binds, take it out and repack it. You don't want it to be packed too tightly, otherwise it might not deploy. Insert the nose cone. If the nose cone's a little loose, like here, simply take a little bit of masking tape, and wrap it around the shoulder, like so. And most of the time you don't even need a whole wrap, you just need about half of one. We'll try this, and you can either cut the excess off or just kind of tuck it in like that. Let's put it in, and that's perfect. We want it to be so that it doesn't come off if you shake it like that, but not too tight so the ejection charge can't remove it. And that's it. Take it out to the pad and launch it. I will mention to you, do not load the motor until you're out on the range. You don't want to store them like this. So this is just a demonstration. So if you guys have any questions at all, or if you're missing things or anything like that, get in touch with us. You can find us on Facebook at South Plains Model Rocketry. There's also the South Plains Model Rocketry Club, which you can find us. And we're also on Discord. Hope you guys had fun.